So the Jacksonville Jaguars complete the comeback against the Los Angeles Chargers 31-30, and the Chargers proved as to why they were one of the biggest disappointments in the AFC conference this season. Going into this season, I had the AFC being a toss-up. I threw in the Bills, the Chiefs obviously, the Bengals, but then the Chargers, they made some big signings during the offseason, bringing in Khalil Mack and Kyle Van Noy, J.C. Jackson, adding it with guys like Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. So I was like, okay, they should make some noise. And I think they obviously did that because the Rams won the Super Bowl title last season. So they wanted to try and take over Los Angeles. And as the season went along, watching this team, they did not look very impressive. They had games where they gave up 20 plus points. Even in games that they won, they did not look very good. They had injuries and big mistakes throughout the season. So in this game, and I didn't watch this live, I just watched it on my NFL Plus. I know that Trevor Lawrence threw like 4 picks in the first half, and they were awful. Now, I'll cut him some slack for a second interception that he had, the one where he tried to get it to Zay Jones at the end of his route. It looked like Asante Samuel got a bit too handsy and a bit too physical, but I still felt like Zay should have fought through that and tried to make a play on the ball rather than just stop and, whine and bitch and moan, which is what these players like to do nowadays. They like to cry and complain, even if you touch them in a certain way, that sounded weird. Pause. Even if you breathe on them, you get a little physical, they just stop what they're doing and start crying. So I thought that Zay should have at least tried to fight for the ball and at best make it into an incompletion. But Asante Samuel Jr. picked it off. Jacksonville's second play of the game, Jacksonville tries to do an RPO. It gets batted in the air by Sebastian Joseph Day, and I think Joey Bosa got his hand on it, and Drew Tranquil was able to pick it off. In the first half, it seemed like the game plan for the Chargers was to play man, confuse the Jacksonville Jaguars with zone coverage, and they were getting physical with the wide receivers. It seemed like no one could get open. That caused Trevor Lawrence to hold on to the ball a bit long, give the Los Angeles Chargers some time to get pressure in his face, and to have him throw some errant passes. I thought that Jacksonville didn't really stick to their strengths. I think their strengths is to do a lot of quick and easy throws, throw underneath the zone coverage of the defense, give these receivers a chance to create yards after the catch. They weren't really able to get the ground game going as well in the first half. I didn't think they tried to run the ball enough with Travis Etienne. Christian Kirk, he had a drop pass in the first half, but they were able to score at the end of the first half, which was big. But for the most part, the turnovers really killed Jacksonville, and San Diego and Los Angeles was able to cash in on most of their opportunities. Defensively for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first half, there were a couple of times where I felt that whenever they brought pressure, Los Angeles wasn't able to handle it. So I was thinking, if they're going to have a chance of getting back into this game, they're going to have to bring more pressure. And in the second half, they did that. They brought more pressure. Justin Herbert was not able to get comfortable. They flushed him out in the pocket, made him throw some inaccurate throws. They were able to sack him, get him on the ground, and the Los Angeles Chargers just crumbled under the pressure. So the tale of two halves. First half, Jacksonville turned the ball over. I didn't think they did a good job of getting the running game going. The defense giving up some big plays, but I felt that whenever they brought pressure, they had some success, and I thought that they should have went with that. The Chargers, they cashed in on their opportunities, moving the ball down the field by creating those turnovers, putting themselves in good position to be in the red zone. Second half, the wheels just came off completely for the Chargers. All of a sudden, they started getting penalties. They got a penalty on the game-winning kick by Jacksonville when the game was over. Joey Bosa had some penalties called against him, and I know he slammed his helmet down after Jacksonville had scored. I believe after Jacksonville had made it into a 26-30 game when they tried to make that 2-point conversion. Jacksonville was able to bring pressure, as I mentioned, which caused Justin Herbert in that offensive line to struggle, and Herbert was not able to get comfortable. I felt as if the Chargers were attacking the sidelines whenever they threw the ball a bit too much. They didn't do enough to try and attack the middle of the field. They didn't do a good job of trying to adjust to the pressure that Jacksonville was putting on them. I thought they took too many big shots one too many times. In the second half, Jacksonville, which I believe played to their strengths, which has been taking what the defense gives them and throwing the ball underneath and allowing these receivers to create yards after the catch. They went up tempo. They had a big play to Zay Jones for a 39-yard touchdown pass. Zay Jones and Christian Kirk were running across the field. Christian Kirk stopped in the middle of the field in between the seams, got the zone coverage for the Los Angeles Chargers, the linebackers, to focus in on him. And it still looked like a busted coverage because Zay Jones was running across the middle of the field free. But a part of that was because they were able to get some of the tension off of Zay and put it on to Christian Kirk when he was running across the field and he stopped. So that played a factor in allowing Zay to get open. Yeah, just a completely different half, just a completely different performance from both teams. Jacksonville played like doo-doo in the first half. The Chargers played well in the first half. The Chargers played like doo-doo in the second half, and the Jaguars played well in the second half. Justin Herbert, 25 for 43, 273 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times. He ran the ball 3 times for a total of 12 yards. He had a fumble but didn't lose it. I didn't think he looked all that spectacular. He almost threw a pick when they were in the red zone in the first half. The Chargers should have went up 31-0 at one point, but he overthrew Keenan Allen, who was wide open. I thought a lot of his passes were a bit too high. They were a bit too far out in front of the wide receiver when the receivers were well covered. But I'll give Jacksonville credit for playing good coverage on their receivers by not allowing Herbert to put the ball to where he can allow his receiver to get it. So I like Herbert. I think he can do it all. I feel like this coaching staff, who was the coaching staff for the Chargers last season? I mean, who's the head coach for the Chargers last season? Will it tell me? So the coach is Brandon Staley. Oh, still Brandon Staley. Okay, so I don't know. I think who's coaching Herbert is kind of wasting his talent, in my opinion. I think Herbert has what it takes to be the best quarterback in the league. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but I think he has what it takes to surpass Mahomes. I just felt like the game plan for the Chargers wasn't really good. I thought they tagged the sideline a bit too much in this game and didn't take chances of trying to hurt Jacksonville in the middle of the field. Austin Eckler, 13 rushing attempts, 35 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think they need a bona fide running back. I like him more when he's in the passing game. I mean, when he's catching out of the backfield. He just seems more effective when he's catching out of the backfield. Gerald Everett, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 109 yards, 1 touchdown. He was fantastic, I thought. Keenan Allen, 13 targets, 6 receptions, 61 yards. I think they got him involved enough. And not having Mike Williams also hurt. I would say he's their best acrobatic wide receiver. Joshua Palmer, 6 targets, 2 receptions, 31 yards. Donald Parham, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 23 yards. DeAndre Carter, 3 targets. And Trey McKitty, 2 targets. So, yeah, the Chargers, well, let me do the defense. Asante Samuel Jr. probably had the best game of his life. 3 INTs, 3 combined tackles, 3 solo tackles. I thought he was fantastic. Khalil Mack, 1 sack. Kenneth Murray, he had a sack. He had half a sack. Sebastian Joseph Day, he had half a sack. I thought the Chargers defense played well in the first half, and then everything just went to shit in the second half. So the Chargers, like I said in the beginning, proved that they are a big disappointment in the AFC. So we'll see what happens next season. They have the talent. They got the quarterback. They got the franchise quarterback. But can they piece it together? Can guys stay healthy? That remains to be seen. Now for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, 28 completions, 47 yards, 28 completions, 47 passing attempts, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. He was sacked twice, had 1 rushing attempt, 8 yards total. This was a good, bad, and ugly performance. I can't say he was great in this game, even though he made the plays he needed to make in the second half. But if he continues to play like that, then the Jacksonville Jaguars have no shot. If they play the Chiefs, I think they're going to play the Chiefs next. I have to look that up. But if they play the Chiefs and they turn the ball over like they did against the Chargers, they're not coming back. Travis Etienne, 20 attempts, 109 yards. I thought he was good. I like Etienne. I think he finally got it together as the season went along. Towards the end, Evan Ingram, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 93 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. I think he's been pretty big for Jacksonville. When he was playing for the Giants in New York, he had trouble holding on to the football and making plays. I think he's made some big plays since he's been in Jacksonville. Christian Kirk, who I think has been huge for this offense, especially Trevor Lawrence. I would say that he has been Trevor Lawrence's #1 target. He's a veteran wide receiver. I think having him has definitely helped Trevor progress in his game. 14 targets, 8 receptions, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. Zay Jones, 13 targets, 8 receptions, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. Marvin Jones, 6 targets, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown. Defensively, Josh Allen, he had a sack. Roy Robertson Harris, he had a sack. 2 hits on the QB. I believe he had a pass deflection as well. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can they, have one of those miracle runs where no one really expects them to do anything and no one really expected them to be in the playoffs? Can they get past the juggernauts of the AFC like the Bills or the Chiefs if they see them in the postseason? We'll see what happens there. Please like and subscribe. That is it. I am out.